to our group tonight, and then you'll see the resources that are there. So everybody can go and log into My Big Campus. Again, it's your district username, not your full email address, just the username part of it, your district password. And then one common thing is people forget to select their school here. So you always want to make sure that your school is there. If it's not, then you can click on select a different school and then just start typing in the name. And it will eventually populate with a list of schools that are use My Big Campus, and you can just click on yours. Okay? And so like we talked about last week, the first page you'll see when you sign into My Big Campus is a lot like a Facebook wall when you sign into Facebook, where you have comments that either you've posted or people that you have some type of association with. Most of my people that are posted on my walls are part of a group, but you could also have people that you're following or people that follow you have their announcements or posts on there as well. Okay, and so what we want to do is check out our group tonight. And so over here on the left, underneath these links, we have our Teaching with Tech class. So we can click on that. And if anybody doesn't see Teaching with Tech over here under your links on the left, then you'll want to click down under More Groups. So let me just take a minute. I think I might have glossed over this a little too quickly last week. We have two icons here. We have Add a Group and More Groups. And so More Groups are groups that somebody else in the district has created that you would like to join. If you want to create a group for your own class or your own group, your own school, then you would click on Add a Group. Okay. So let's start with this class, and I'll come back to the Add a Group and spend a few minutes on that. So under More Groups, these are all the groups in the district, and there are literally, I think, probably hundreds of them now. If you don't see Teaching with Tech right here on the front of yours, you could type it up in the search option up here. Okay, and then you can click on that. And if you haven't already joined the group, you'll right up here above this icon, you'll see a link that says Join. Okay. Now, from here, it looks like it's a fairly boring group because I don't have anything on our home page. But across the top here, we have some different tabs. We have announcements. Okay. And I've made 3 announcements for our group there. We have discussions. And so this is, I need to delete this one. That's an old one. But this is where if you have questions that you would either like to ask me or ask the rest of the class, you can post a discussion question here. There's a chat feature. And again, I don't think we've used a lot of the chat options. But here are people that right now in class, this is a way that we could chat back and forth if we weren't using the GoToWebinar program we're using right now. So it's a way that people here in class, if you wanted to send a message through My Big Campus to somebody else that's not in our lab here, you could correspond back and forth that way. Pages, again, are just web pages that we could create. There's a frequently asked questions page. It's left over from an earlier class that I taught. And then resources is an important one as well. So resources are files that have been uploaded to our group. And so that's where you can see last week's class is this Teaching with Interactive Tech 125.12. You can click on that, and it's basically taking you to a YouTube video where you can watch last week's class. Okay, and then we also have this document has the class information for registering for class, and so it has the I'll go and click on that and open it. Okay, so this document has the section number, the course number, the instructor, and all those things you would, all those pieces of information you would need to sign up for class within, for credit within NU. Okay. So here's the course code, the title of the class. I'm trying to think what else you need to register. Okay, so I'll just kind of leave that open in the background and we'll check out the registration page as well. Okay, the calendar, I didn't go in and clean up our repeating ones, but it at least has our classes for February on there. You can ignore the ones in March, April, May. This class will end on February 29th, so I'll go ahead and try to clean those up. And then the rest of the class members that are taking part in the class. Okay, so that's our My Big Campus group. So back here under announcements, for those of you that haven't registered yet, here's the link, this bottom announcement. So you can click on that, and here under the Take a Course option, you can click on Get Started, and you can click on Find a Course and search courses, and I would just use Teaching, I think it's Interactive is how it is on theirs. Okay, and so this is our class here, and you can click on the link there and use this button to register for it. Okay. Okay, so questions as far as registering for the credit or that quick overview of My Big Campus? Does anybody have any questions or anything with My Big Campus? Maybe something we went too quickly over last week, or any other questions? Yes.
I just am not envisioning a use for it at the elementary level, so I was hoping you would give some ideas about that.
Sure. So at the elementary level, I think it's really, I think there are a few uses for it depending on how you want to use it. So let's come back and look at our group settings, and I think that's probably a good place to start. So I'm going to click on Edit up here.
When's the last day to register?
February
8th, I believe.
I think it was February 8th, yeah. Okay, so down here under the privacy, there's two ways you can set up a group, and so you can have it so that only people who are members of the group can see it, or anyone on the internet. So if you check that second one, you can now really use this in place of our old teacher web pages. And so you could now use this as a way, again, you'd have to publicize it with your parents, or, and that's probably the first thing, is how would parents find your web page? And so if you're going through your school web page, and let's do that quick. Remind me which school you're at, Jennifer? Utah. Okay. So if I come up here to schools and elementary schools and Yukon, okay, every teacher has a web page created through Novus. And so let's take a look at that quick. Faculty and staff. And which grade are you? Fourth grade. Okay, so there's Jennifer's homepage. So have you updated this recently? Okay. And so that's, to me, one challenge with Novus is it's extremely difficult to update. So what you could do, there's really two things you could do. You could, any idea who maintains your school web page? So nobody's really updating it. So you could either email Dave here at the district office, or email Brady and say, hey, could I, instead of having it go to this page, could you link to this page of My Big Campus? And so now when parents would click on faculty and staff and your name, you could actually have them come to a group that you've set up here, like Mrs. Arnell's fourth grade class, and you could have it go to any one of those pages that we just saw with your groups. You could have it come to your home page, but then from there they could be able to see announcements and discussions. You could have it come to your announcements page, and so that's a way you could do more frequent updates to your web page that are a lot simpler than doing it in Novus would be. So that's at least a good start with things you could do. Now from there, if you feel like most of your students get onto the internet at home and they have things there, you could actually Do you do like a novel that students read in 4th grade at all? Or so you could actually go out and say, I have a question posted on my big campus. Go on and type your response there. So now instead of students just seeing, instead of those responses coming back to just you as a teacher, all the students can see each other's responses to those questions. And then resources, again, I think is a good one to think about. If you ever updated your Novus page, like you did at some point, let's click back on your Novus page. So you have spelling practice here. Okay, that's a link to an outside. I think, are there all these outside links, it looks like. So some teachers were trying to upload files to Novus like on a weekly basis, and I'll just be honest, it's a pain in the butt. There's really no other way to describe it. Where uploading files here, you can actually, if I click on New File, I can actually drag and drop a file right into this window. So it's a much simpler way to upload those files for your students. And so if you have, handouts that you've created that are homework or those kinds of things, and you want parents to be able to see what they are or kids to access them at home, then they've got access that way. So I think really at elementary level, I would really make all my things public so that parents and students could access them.
So what did you say about contacting someone to have your...
So there's somebody, there should be somebody that updates your school website. Now, I'll be honest, some schools are doing it and some aren't. So you could either, Dave Colbert here at the district office maintains our entire district's website, and so he could make that change for you. Or if you know there's somebody at your school that's updating that, they could do it as well. But really at elementary schools, I don't know that there's very many people that are updating those websites. And I could walk you through how you could do it in Novus, and maybe towards the end of our month. Once you start getting things built into my big campus, I might just, we could really do that in about 5 minutes here as a class. I could walk you through how to do that. So actually, we probably couldn't change the page we need to change. So yeah, so we could get those changes updated. So are those some ideas that you think might work, Jennifer? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And I think once you get in, I think the possibilities will definitely open themselves up. But definitely, as I'm looking at the high school next year or 2 years when students have laptops, I think there's a whole world of possibilities here that maybe aren't as apparent at elementary schools. So, Cliff, did you say somebody had a question online?
No, we took care of it. It was the last day was first.
Oh, okay.
You give an assignment online so the kids have to go on campus and do the assignment?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you grade it. The campus can grade it for you.
There are, that's a new feature that they have, and so let's take a look at that. Here under schoolwork, and again, I've been thinking a lot about this week, and I wonder how feasible it is at elementary, but I think in secondary schools it might be a little bit easier. But here under schoolwork, so you have create a new assignment, create a new quiz, and then an ability to export grades. And so in this class, I will give at least 1, if not 2 assignments here online and show you how you can submit those to you. And so that's one way that kids could upload files, and then you would just take a look at them and grade them yourself. But they do have this new interactive quizzing as well. So you can click on create a new quiz, and in this situation, students would actually go in and answer on the computer, and it would score it for you. So, it's there. I'm just thinking, I know that access to computers is already limited in elementary, but it might be something, if you have 4 computers in your classroom, you could cycle kids through and actually use that feature too. So if you want to see how to do that, do you want to take a few minutes on that, or are you guys ready to jump into the Easy Teach software? Okay, I'll come back and I think we'll plan on this maybe in a week or 2, but let's go and, I think the other thing I wanted to talk about tonight was the, and I'm going to have to get to it, is the internet safety part of it as well. That'll help you a lot if you're looking at using YouTube. So let me grab that file real quick. Any other questions on My Big Campus before we switch gears? Everybody here is okay? Anybody online, any questions?
Mine was just, are we going to do the YouTube access at the end, or are we going to?
I think we'll go ahead and jump in right now if I can.
Austin has a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Do you want to read it to us?
He's just got his hand raised.
Okay. Austin, if you have a question, if you don't have a microphone, you can type it in the chat box and Cliff can read it for us.
By the way, unraise my hand.
Yeah.
I'm really not raising it.
That's interesting. Okay.
Austin says he's just having trouble signing up with My Big Campus.
Okay. Why don't we tell them that we'll take a look at that at the end. We'll help them with that. Okay. So what I want to take a few minutes to talk about is internet safety and responsibility. How many of you, and online as well, if you'll raise your hands, Cliff can tell us, those of you that are online, but how many of you have a projector in your classrooms? Okay, so everybody here does. And online, Cliff will tell us how many people online have those.
Yeah, it looks like everybody but Mill and Michelle.
Okay, excellent. So as we talk about the filter, and the purpose is for the filter, keeping that projector that's in your room is really kind of an important piece of this to keep in mind. But right now there's basically three reasons why as a school district we need to provide a filter on our internet access. The first one are our ethical requirements as educators, legal requirements, and then the third one are just the logistical requirements of the filter. So the first one under our ethical requirements is just like we have a duty to protect our students physically on playgrounds and in hallways and in our classrooms, we have that same responsibility to protect them from influences on the internet. And so some common's probably not the right word, but the most talked about threats to our students on the internet are sexual solicitations and internet-initiated offline encounters. The second one, online harassment and cyberbullying. Third one would be exposure to inappropriate content, whether students want to access or whether it's accidental, and then there's some other risks. And so just kind of some interesting facts with each one of those. The first one is the idea of sexual solicitations and internet-initiated offline encounters. You know, Dateline used to run those specials. I don't know if they still do, where they catch the predators that are there that have been soliciting underage girls, or trying to solicit underage girls. And so, I mean, there's definitely a threat there, but it's really, and it shouldn't surprise us, the reality is much closer to the threats that our students face with this offline as well, which is most of the, it's even in the 80 to 90%, but most of the solicitations that students receive come from somebody they already know. And so the stranger danger, it's real, but just like with kidnappings and with other instances where students might be abused or put into those types of situations, more often than not it's happening from somebody that they already know and trust. But that being said, we still have that responsibility to try to protect our students from those types of threats that could be happening online. The second one, and again it's the same thing, is students we know are getting online and bullied online, but it's really no different than what happens on the playground or in hallways. And generally the same students that are at risk on the playground tend to be the same ones that are at risk online. And the same kids that tend to bully are the ones that tend to bully online. So But it's definitely real, and that's one of the nice things with My Big Campus, although at times it turns into a little bit of a headache, but students can report, going back to that idea that students can chat back and forth in My Big Campus or send messages back and forth, and they're doing that, and if something inappropriate does occur, then they can report it, and it comes back to my email box, it comes back to Joe Tamayo's, it's over our filter, and it's something we can report back to principals. Right now, about 98% of the ones we're getting, they aren't legit. It's just kids kind of messing around and clicking the button because it's there. But that's the nice thing is if, coming from my background as an assistant principal at Hillcrest, is we got parents or students coming in and complaining about being harassed on Facebook at home or harassed on MySpace at home. There wasn't a whole lot we could do about it because we were blocked from the sites anyway. And it was really hard to go back and track, but now there's really an easy way for us to track that. Again, students can self-report those things, but we've got a record of it. So it's why I think My Big Campus is a nice vehicle, because rather than opening up Facebook or those social networks, we have something that works inside of our filter that we can monitor. And then, of course, a real common one is access to pornography and other inappropriate content that's on the internet. And again, something I dealt with a lot at Hillcrest as an assistant principal. I think we have fewer and fewer kids trying to access that content just because they know the filter is there and it's harder and harder to get to. But that being said, there's still times that things can slip through. But we still have an ethical responsibility to try to protect our students as much as we can from those kinds of exposures. So that's our first reason why we need a filter in place. So any questions or discussion on our first one? Yeah.
But you still can't do anything about kids being bullied on Facebook.
It's tough because parents will come in and they want us to do something about it. Legally, where the boundary is if whether it's on Facebook or any type of off-campus behavior, if we can demonstrate that it has an impact on the students inside the class, then we have some authority to deal with it. But if it's not always clear-cut that what happened outside. So we'd have parents come in and say, this kid beat up my kid last night, and unless we can show that it's having an effect at school, then yeah, our hands are pretty tied with it. But it's nice having resource officers because generally we just turn them over to resource officers and let them try to figure out what to do with it. So, okay. The second one is we have a legal responsibility to provide the filter, and that comes from, and I mentioned this briefly last week, but the Children's Internet Protection Act. And so this is a federal law, and just like everything that the feds do with education, the only reason the federal government can have any control or authority over schools is because we let them, because we take their money. And that's just as true with our filter. The cost for us to have internet access and for our schools to be all linked together on the same network, the raw cost right now is about $150,000 per year to the district. The federal government comes in and they subsidize about 70% of that. And so we're saving, somewhere around $90,000 a year because the federal government subsidizes that. In turn for that, they're saying some of the things you have to do is you have to provide a filter to your students. And you have to make sure that as schools you're following this Children's Internet Protection Act, which covers a lot of the same things that I just talked about that personally I feel like they have an ethical responsibility to do anyway. But a couple of it takes it a little bit farther. In addition to just providing the filter, they require that we monitor online activities of minors. And so as students do attempt to access inappropriate sites, that gets reported back through our filter system, and we can then contact principals and say this student was trying to access this site and let them handle it in a disciplinary manner. So, so we need to monitor the online activity of students. We need to block access to those to sites that are harmful to minors, and then address access to inappropriate materials, address safety and security of minors and hacking by minors and those kinds of things. And interestingly, just this morning we were dealing with one of our students, one of our high school students that hacked our network. And so it is a reality of part of maintaining our network. So kind of an innocent thing. The student brought a Wi-Fi router from home and just plugged it into the network, so now all his friends could use his access point to get. They had Nintendos hooked up to it. They had Game Boy, not Game Boys, but what's Microsoft's Xboxes, those kinds of things hooked up to it. didn't realize that by doing that he's committing a misdemeanor offense as well. So yeah, I'm sure he had a fun day with his parents talking to the resource officer and principals about that. So those are the legal requirements. And then our last one are just the logistical requirements. And the reality is if we opened up the internet, it would crash our network. We just simply don't have the capacity to handle all of the traffic that students and teachers would like access to. And so here's a quick example with YouTube. If you have one person viewing a YouTube video, it takes 4.8 megabytes of bandwidth. So in the old days, that'd be like 2.5 floppy disks worth of information that that one YouTube video takes. So for one user, it's not a huge deal. But as we're looking at how our network's set up, so you have, just like we have in our lab here or whatever computer you're on, you've got 30 computers in a lab that are all going through one switch, and then that switch heads out. In most of our schools, it heads back out to cable 1, and then from cable 1 here to the district office, and then from the district office out to the internet. And so what you have is we have basically a pipe that can carry, well, here at the internet side, we actually just doubled this. So we have 200 megs out to the internet. We used to have 100, but we just contracted with cable 1 to give us another 100. Is that right? Was it 100? Wasn't it 250s? Yeah. And so that information is actually coming the other way. So it's coming down from the internet through this. We have a peak usage of 200 megabytes. And so as you look at that, if we just had 60 people streaming YouTube videos, that now exceeds the complete capacity that we have. So we have, I think, about 3,000 computers in the district. So out of that 3,000, if just 60 are trying to stream a YouTube video at the same time, it's going to basically not quite crash the network, but it's going to definitely clog our pipelines and make it very difficult to stream data through. So logistically, we have to provide a filter to try to moderate how much content can possibly flow through the network. And it's interesting because just like we used to do with floppy disks, I remember when I got my first 2 gig computer, and I thought 2 gigs of information, I'll never use 2 gigs. And now I'm buying flash drives that are 16 gigs and signing up for SkyDrive accounts that have 25 gigs of data because it just escalates. And so the same thing happens with our bandwidth. The bigger we make that pipe, the more it just gets filled up as more and more applications want to run through it. Now, this number here, incidentally, we found out isn't much different than when we are doing the STAR Early Literacy test for elementary schools. It's about the same. So as we were booting up all the STAR Early Lit tests at the same time, we were crashing our network because we're taking more information than we expected them to take.
So how is this laptop for every ninth grader going to affect this?
So that's a great point because it'll be different at Hillcrest than Bonneville. How's that for an answer? Because Bonneville has a direct connection between Bonneville High School and our tech center here that's basically 10 gigs. So there won't be much problem at all at Bonneville. Hillcrest has that 1 gig connection that flows through cable 1 and then from cable 1 to here that also has 15 other elementary schools competing with it. And so it's an issue we know we have to address, and we're talking right now on what can we do to address that. The first answer from cable 1 was if you need 10 times the capacity, it's 10 times the price, and we can't pay $6,000 a month for that connection. And so
does the state understand
So the state, I'm hearing rumors that they do, but it's interesting because just today I heard Tom Luna talking about, or was it yesterday, talking about it, and he said, no, it's fine because everybody has this 100 meg connection out to the internet. Well, the 100 meg connection is from this building to the internet, not from Hillcrest to here. Mm-hmm. And so, but I'm hearing rumors that they're starting to understand that there's an issue between schools and where that connection is, but so far, nothing official. So we'll see. But,
will this being on Live Campus pull through that from that too?
So yeah, and that's one thing I didn't. I was kind of wondering with My Big Campus, but even YouTube videos through My Big Campus, they still are coming actually from YouTube. And so as long as we have teachers streaming them, I think we're going to be okay because I don't know that every teacher's going to be streaming them at the same time. But if we started having every lab with kids streaming YouTube videos, it would definitely crash our network. There's no question. So, and so going back kind of on that idea, So some options, because we know, and that's a great lead-in, we know that there's a lot of educational value in some YouTube videos. And teachers want to stream those. If we let them just turn off the internet, override the filter, and in fact I'm going to do that here, so I think I can. And I demonstrated this a little bit last week. But think if you're up in front of your class and you pull up a YouTube and you decide to override the filter. Yep, I can override it here. Okay. And I'm going to search for Newton's laws of motion. I'll just grab one. Okay. And this one is actually looking, okay, yeah, it's right there. So down here under some comments, there's a nice one here. That fat girl's thinking, OMG, that apple looks tasty. That must have been the longest 60 seconds of her life. And this is actually fairly clean for some things I've seen. But I've seen F words down here in these comments. Over here, again, YouTube does a good job that they don't allow pornography on there. But there are some things that I would say are definitely inappropriate for students that are still on YouTube. And so that's why simply overriding the filter to show a YouTube video isn't the best thing. Because if you're up here in front of your class and you override the filter and you show something and something that says that we won't expose students to those things in our classrooms. And so that's why I think My Big Campus is such a better option, because what it does is it takes and it strips out all this stuff on the side, all the comments underneath, and it's just letting you see the video here, but it's still getting streamed from YouTube. So it doesn't keep students from inappropriate content. So if I do the same search here, okay, then I can pull up videos, and again, don't have any of the comments or any of the inappropriate content that could be there on the side of it. So a much safer way for teachers to access that same content that's there. Now that being said, now that everybody's been through this introduction, we're going to give you the access, just like I had, to override the filter. So the appropriate way to use that is not in front of your kids with the projector on, but after school as you're preparing lessons, to go and find those YouTube videos that you want and then adding them into My Big Campus if they're not there already. But again, the best way to do it is to start with My Big Campus, and that saves you the whole headache of finding something on YouTube and having to add it to it. Just see what's here already. And what's something somebody's teaching tomorrow?
Matter.
Matter? States of matter?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So right there, there are already 5 pages worth of videos that have states of matter. And so it even saves you having to probably look through more videos than you need to. You can simply click through those and see what videos are there that you might want to use.
Okay, so are you going to the library?
Yep. So just under the library, My Big Campus.
Okay.
Okay.
So
And then
And you type in.
and then you just come up here to your search option and whatever you.
And then it pulls up
Whatever videos other educators, other teachers have already added in on that topic.
Okay, so right now if we open it, we can't see it. I mean,
You can't?
okay, I can show that.
Mhm.
But we need a password to go find other things. We're already here.
So if you start with My Big Campus, you're just fine. So you can just come right in, you can click on the library, and you can search any of these videos that are already in My Big Campus. So the time that you'll need a password, and I'll try to have Joe add everybody tomorrow, will be if you really want to find a YouTube video and show that instead. Then the process would be that you'd go to YouTube, and when you go to YouTube, you'll get blocked from the site, and there's a little link that you'll be able to override the filter and search for in there. But I really think if you start searching My Big Campus, I think you're going to find videos on just about any topic you want to that are already added to it. Anybody else have something you're teaching tomorrow that you want to search for?
If we're doing this at home, we're not going to have a block. We can put things into our.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a great point. Is if you go home and you want to search at home, then you're not going to probably won't get blocked. Don't know. Some of you might have filters at home, but yeah, you can go to there, and in that case, you would just click on this Add New YouTube Video link, and from YouTube, you would just copy and paste the address of the video. So if I refresh.
Where's that add new link?
Okay, so under, so I'll start back at our first. So if you click on Library,
Okay. Oh, there it is.
then right here, there's Add a New YouTube Video there.
Homophones.
Okay. So let's start with My Big Campus. Okay, and there are not a whole lot. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 videos on homophones there already in My Big Campus, and you can click on those and see. Okay, or again, if you were doing it at home, and this might be an interesting one to see what kind of things show up. Okay, so there's definitely more videos on YouTube, but again, more things to click through now too to try to find the one that you want. But if you did find, this one looks kind of interesting, all between the lines. Okay, so if I wanted to add this video, I could just come up here to the address bar and select that. And do a right click and select all, right click and copy it. And then I could come back to so I could hear people before. And so here again under My Big Campus and the library, I can click on Add a YouTube Video and just paste that address there. If I click on Get Info, a lot of times when I've done this, it's already had the video there. Okay, in this case it doesn't. It populates this information. Then I just need to put in a category for it, language arts, minimum grade, kindergarten to 12, and click on Add.
So when it adds it in, then it takes all that other stuff out.
Yep, so now it's here, and now it's in My Big Campus instead of YouTube. Yep. And so again, it's just a link, but now it doesn't have the other things there, and I can show it inside of My Big Campus. So, okay. So questions on either internet safety or YouTube? Yes.
Any questions though, if it's already on, then how do you put it onto your page?
Okay, excellent. So let's say I find this video and I want to save the video. Down here, unless you have an Add to Collection option, okay, and so these are my collections that I've already created. So I have a Teaching with Tech, RM Easy Teach, Social Networking, Dinosaurs, or you can create one. So let's say I wanted to do one on, I could create a collection just on homophones, or I might want to generalize that out to a unit. What unit is that a part of?
Probably grammar.
Grammar? Okay, great. So I'll do a grammar collection. I can click on Add. Okay. And so now, here under your stuff,
I don't have that little box at the bottom. I don't know.
which box?
One.
Where it says you can add it.
Yeah, the add collection. Yeah, where is that?
Did you add the video in?
No.
No.
Okay.
I'm just on the ones that I found.
Okay.
That were already in the library.
Okay. So let's.
So you're on the ones that you found on the internet.
Okay. So I'll just find one on the library. Boy, fingers are not working today. Okay. And Schoolhouse Polka. Okay, I'll click on that one. And so you don't have this box here that says Add to Collection?
Yeah, we do now.
Okay. And then, so I came down and I created a group called Grammar. Okay, so I'll just click on Grammar now and add it to that. Okay, and then if I come over here to Your Stuff, I will see my collections here.
Your stuff. Your stuff is on the left.
Yeah, over here on the left.
So I made the grammar collection now. How do I add it to my collection?
Oh, then you click on Add.
Oh.
Okay, and then so under Your Stuff, then if I come down here and click on Grammar I should have my 2 videos there. I must not have got the other one added. Okay, so I'll do it one more time. It's a little bit tricky if you're adding a category. Whoops. I mentioned I'm having a hard time with my fingers today. Okay, so homophones. And then if I click on add to collection and click on grammar. So down here, yeah, I ran into this problem last week. I can't remember who I was helping. I'm going to create another one just called, I'll just call it grammar 2 for the heck of it. And then when I click on add here, that added the group, but it didn't add the video to the group. So now I have to find my group again and click on it, and now it'll add it to that collection. Okay.
So tell me how to do that.
Sure. Okay. So I'm going to click on add to collection, and I'm going to type in a name of the new collection. So I'll just call this a new collection.
Oh, my name's wrong.
Okay. Now when I click add here, the first time, because I'm creating a new group, all that's doing is it's actually adding that into my collection. So now I need to come back and click on the collection I wanted to add to, and it's there. It's kind of an extra little step. So, but now if I come to your stuff, I can click on my new collection one, and it's there. Or I can click on grammar 2, because I added it there as well, and it's there.
Mine's not adding anything. I typed in music and it said add. So I put in rhythm and it doesn't know where I'm making a collection. But I tried. I tried to make a collection of music.
Did you do add to collection?
So I did add to collection, I typed in music, and then it came up here.
Okay, so now I need to click on it. Now click on music here, and it'll add it to it. Okay, it's added to it.
And so I go to...
So now I can scroll up and click on my campus over here. Okay.
Okay, my stuff. Okay.
So now is this on
Scroll
my
down,
page?
it's in these here collections. Okay, so now it's in your collections. Okay, so that's one way you can get to it, is by coming to your stuff and going down and finding it there. So if I'm showing it in class, that's probably a fairly simple way to do it. But if I want my students to be able to see it, then I'd want to find a way for my students to have access to that. So let's say I want to share that with our group here. I come down to my Teaching with Tech group, and I can do it as an announcement. So let's say I wanted to share that, and I'll say, check out this cool video on homophones, and then I'll click on a library item. Actually, I'm going to click on your stuff because that's where I put it, and come down here to my I wonder what it's adding there. Okay, and there it is. So now I've posted it out as an announcement to our group. So now when you probably just got an email from me saying that I posted that, and as well as when you come to our homepage, there's now a link to that video.
We post the YouTube video. Where's the URL at? Copy.
It'll be right up here at the top, just whatever's right up here in your address bar.
It said YouTube. Because right there on YouTube where it says homophones, you type in something.
Right.
And it pulls it up. So the whole thing.
This thing right
That's it.
here. Yep.
Oh, okay. I saw YouTube, so I thought that was it. But it's the stuff after it.
And it'll be the whole thing. Yeah. You want to add that whole address to it. Yep.
That's what you're doing. Okay. For some reason, I thought I was supposed to say homophone up there.
What's that?
I was just wondering if you had told us how to override the filter and I missed it. Or...
No, so what will happen is, the way we have it set up is we have groups of people that can override the filter. And so basically the idea is if we just let every teacher override the filter, that they could end up in that situation of showing something inappropriate in front of their class we don't want them to. So I want them to go through that little 5-minute Here's why we have a filter. Here's how you need to use it, and then you add them into that group. So the process is now I will let Joe know, everybody in my class went through that safety video, so by tomorrow, hopefully, you'll be able to override the filter. And it's pretty simple, and it lets me do it for an hour, so I can't show it to you again, but when you come to a block site, there'll just be a link that says override the filter, and it lets you do it for 60 minutes. You just type in your district username and password. Again, key thing, I would never ever override the filter if I were doing it on a projector in front of kids. It's just not worth it. So, ever tell you my funny story about that? So this summer is like in August. No, it's July. I'm working in my office in July, and somebody came over, I think, with that question about overriding the filter. I'm like, oh yeah, you just have to do this. And unbeknownst to me, they turned off the filter. So I went to, I was like, well, I need to go to a block site. And why I didn't think about Facebook, I have no idea, but I chose Playboy instead. So I have this lady in my office. I'm like, hey, just go to like a block site like here, like Playboy, and boom, up pops Playboy. I'm like, holy crap! So I had to shut everything down. So just a good example of why you want to be careful when you override that filter on why you're doing it, where you're doing it, who's seeing what you're doing. So she's like, well, you have to sign something that says you're to show. I'm like, no, it's fine. But anyway, kind of an embarrassing moment for me. So from now on, I'll use Facebook if I need to show somebody how to override the filter. I won't use Playboy. Okay, so any questions in on YouTube videos or how to show them to your class, how to safely show them to your class, how to add them to My Big Campus? Do you want me to go through that step one more time, or is everybody comfortable with it? Everybody's okay?
Okay, if I go to the library, the district library, and I'm clicking on mathematics, and it's going to pull up all of these different ones, can I type in what I'm looking for? Like I'm looking for something in multiple.
So right up here you have this search item up here, and so you can type whatever search term you want to up there and see what pops up.
Okay. That's all I needed.
Okay.
And it could be different computers throughout the district. You just got to type in My Big Campus to get to it.
Yeah, it's a website, so any computer in the world, you can be at home doing it, you can be on your iPad doing it, anywhere you want, you can log in and add that information in. And if you do happen to have an iPad or an iPod, they have a great app for this. It's a free app, and it's just a little bit simpler interface for your iPad if you are using it that way. So, and that's.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it's a great tool. It's a really good tool. So.
I'm just thinking because now we have cards at that, choosing cards that day, get a computer over and then set
Yeah.
we can start getting some videos.
Yep.
Because our videos are, we got to get some yellow now.
Yep.
Okay.
It is. It's cloud computing, which means it doesn't save anything on your computer. It saves it all up on the internet, and it's there whenever you log in. And so, and again, under your stuff here, you can upload any file you want to off of your computer, so you can have access to it from anywhere. And again, you can create your own collections over here to add things to based on different subjects you might teach or different units you might teach. And I think, yeah, and if you ever want to clean it up like I was just playing with these ones, I just clicked on Grammar 2, and I can just click on Delete Collection here and get rid of those collections I don't need anymore. Okay, so again, kind of coming back to that idea on how to use My Big Campus, it's a great way that if you have files that you think your parents might want access to, whether it's a reading list or spelling words or those kinds of things, you can, let's say, create a question called spelling lists, and click on Add. And then when I click on that collection, it doesn't have any items there yet. And so I could come to back to your stuff and click on Add a File. Okay, and again, I can click to upload a file from my computer. And the nice thing is, and pretty amazing to me that they can do this through an internet option, but you can actually drag and drop files right into there. So I'm going to just minimize this a little bit. And let me put this file in there. That'll be a good one to do. So I'm going to save this onto my desktop because I pulled it off the internet. Okay. And so now I have a file right here on my desktop that I want to share on my big campus. I can just click and drag that right into that box. And I'll just take it a minute to upload it.
Does that have to be your desktop, or can you?
No,
anywhere.
anywhere. Yeah, from a flash drive, from your documents, wherever that file is, you can drag and drop it. So now it's there.
And you pull it into that box, that click here.
Yep, click here to upload it. Or I can click and upload it and do it the old way, which is to browse through my computer to find it. But if it's right there and I can just do a drag and drop, that works great too. Okay, but I can come here and click on desktop and do the same thing. Okay, and then from there, so I have this one. I can now add it again to a collection, so I can put that in our Teaching with Tech file group. Okay, and if I want to share that with you so people can come back and see it again, I would just come down to my group here, to my Teaching with Tech group that I want to share it with. I could do it as an announcement, or I could put it here under resources. And I can do, okay. Now, from here I could do new file if I wanted to add it, but I've already uploaded under my stuff, so I can just click on your stuff, and here it is. Click on that, and click on share it, and now everybody in here has access to see that that fantastic PowerPoint again. Anytime I want to go back and see that. Okay, and again, if you wanted to, and that's kind of just one key difference. So putting in resources, I know that it's there, but I haven't really told you that it's there. And so if you went back and you browsed, you would see it there. But if I just put in something and I want to share that with the rest of the class and make sure you know I shared it, that's a good place to come back to the announcements. And same thing, I can come to my stuff and share this here. I think I just did it twice. Yep, so I'll delete the next one. And then I just put in a little announcement about it here. So this is the, let's see. Okay, and then when I post that, it's now posted here as an announcement, so people can check back and see it. But again, everybody that's a part of the group should have just got an email from me with that announcement in it as well. So you know, oh, there's something new about our group, and I can go back and check that out.
I was farting around with the old stuff. I didn't catch. I wasn't the very full. Did you go to the left side and pull up something to get that to pull that in, to drag that into?
Nope. I just, so here under the announcements tab, I just clicked on your stuff because I'd already uploaded it. Okay. If I wanted to bring in a new file off of my computer, I could click on New File. Okay.
Yeah, I'm too busy doing what you just said. So I'm all fired up about that. I better keep watching this. So.
Okay. So you guys are quickly becoming experts on my big campus. Yes.
Scott, how do I put something in there, but I must not have put my name on there because it said the person who entered it is not here. I wanted to put it under your stuff. How do I get it over to your stuff? I can't do it by collections. Collections is different.
So your stuff should be anything that you upload or anything that you save, and then you have different collections inside of your stuff. So your stuff should be everything, and then you should have multiple collections inside of there.
The only thing that's under your stuff right now is just the two videos that I put on.
Okay.
YouTube videos. I actually put on 3, but apparently one of them I didn't put my name on there, so that's why it's not up here. So I just wondered, how do I put it in your stuff from the YouTube video? That
The YouTube video?
Yeah.
Okay. So as soon as you add it, okay, let's go back to that. So let's go back to our library. And Jennifer, what kind of video are you looking at?
It was a Christmas pop-up card. We teach the kids how to make them, and there was a demonstration on YouTube. So that was that top one there. Make a Christmas pop-up card.
Huh. Popped up to start. Okay, make it Christmas.
So that top one.
This one? Okay.
Yep. And as you come into it, it says there is no information for the user.
Okay, so it's here under the library.
Uh-huh.
And so for you to save it, you should just want to click on Add to Collection and then click on a collection here. And as soon as you do that, it should put it into your stuff.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
if you created a group down here, and I think this is where we've gotten tripped up a couple of times. Let's say I put in a collection down here called Crafts, and I click on Add. I might have thought I just added the video to that, but what I actually did is I just added the group Crafts to my collection here. So now I have to still come back and click on Crafts, and now I've actually added it. And as soon as I do that, if I come back to my stuff or your stuff and click on Collections and Crafts, it'll be there.
Okay.
So all the YouTube videos that are already on my big campus weren't just downloaded from Log, but downloaded from anywhere in the
Yeah,
world.
all over the country. Yep, absolutely. School districts all over the country, teachers doing this. And that's actually a great thing to bring out. Here under EduTalk, if you're interested, this is, again, educators all over the world that are tweeting or posting about different topics on education. And so if you're interested in, well, let's do grammar. That one might be easy. Okay. So here, Mickey Knuckles actually posted one. She popped right up here with some links to some fun grammar games to play and some links to that. Okay. And so just people all over the world that are posting things to hear on that particular topic. So the only thing with EduTalk, and again, I'm not a big Twitter guy, although I did do some tweets this week just so I could come here and talk about how it works. But they use what they call a hashtag, which is just the £. So you do the hashtag and then whatever topic it is that you want to search for, and then you'll see what people have posted about that. Okay. Mine came from I was reading a book, and on the book I'm reading on my iPad. So it's a Kindle app. And from there, I can share it to Twitter, and so from Twitter, it's coming here into my big campus. So I book out professional learning communities, and if I click on the link, then it shares that part of the book that I was highlighting. So kind of some cool things you can do. But that's what EduTalk is. It's, again, teachers all over the country that are just posting links or ideas or thoughts about different topics that you might be teaching. So. Oh, there's my conversation with Sydney as I was getting her signed up for my big campus. So, okay, so we'll continue to use my big campus as part of this class. I think it'll be a nice way as you get in and experience it on the student side of things and see how you can use it. You can use it as a teacher. But from there, I think we'll take a break from that, and we're going to get into RM Easy Teach, which is our software that comes with our projectors. So. For those of you that are listening on the webinar, will you click on the raise your hand button if you're watching this from home? Have a good one. How many do we have at home?
Mary and Jennifer.
Okay. So everybody else, if you're at school, I'm hoping it has RM Easy Teach installed on your computer. If not, if you're in a lab, we may need to install it there so you can use it. And I hope I have it installed. Is it there? Oh, there it is, Easy Teach. Okay. So under your Start menu, you should have a link to Easy Teach Next Generation. Now, how many of you have Brightlink projectors in your classrooms? Okay. We may have to do one session on this over at the boardroom, or is everybody able to turn on the interactive function on your projectors, or do you need some coaching on that? To use the pens? Okay. So what we'll need to do. Okay. Okay. So what we'll do is let me make sure next week I should still be good. I've got 1 week where I'm in Boise and I'm still planning on doing the class. I'll just have to do it remotely. But let me make sure I'm here next week. And if I am, I think we might start the class over in the boardroom and then come back over to here. Yeah, that one should be good. That'll be the 8th, right? School board meeting. Yeah. Okay. So next week, and same thing for anybody online. If you don't know how to use the pens with your projectors, then come to the boardroom next week at 4 o'clock. We have some bright links there, and I can show you how to turn on and calibrate the projectors. Here in the tech lab, we have a smart board, and so I can still show the software, but I can't show you how to actually make it work with the projectors. So next week we'll start over in the boardroom, and then we'll move back over here after.
Where's the boardroom?
Just in the district office, that big room when you walk in the district office. If you walk in the south doors. So. Okay, so before we get to that though, luckily we don't need to know how to do that to go ahead and start with RM Easy Teach. So everybody should, in your programs menu, have a folder called Easy Teach Next Generation, and then you should have 5 icons there, okay? I'm going to start with some simple ones, and then I'll come back and we'll get into the full-blown program. But there's 2 tools here. There's a spotlight mode and the glass mode tool. So I'm going to start with the spotlight because it's probably the simplest. And when I turn that on, it's going to hopefully turn the spotlight on my computer. Is it there? I don't see it. There it is. Okay. So here's the spotlight. So basically it's just blocking out part of my screen, and then it's letting me do a spotlight on other parts of the screen. Okay?
How are you moving it?
My cursor's outside of it, and so if my cursor's outside I can click and drag it. If it's inside, then it's just acting like a regular mouse.
Pressing on the left?
Yeah, just click and drag with my left mouse button. Okay? So let's say I'm back here on the internet. And I just want to focus on how you find that YouTube link. I can come up here and I can spotlight that. And then I should be able to, this one's a little not quite as sophisticated. So. Yeah, I think we have to use the other, there's another program we can use that's a little bit more functionality for spotlight to shrink it.
Well, no, go to the right.
Is it here?
On the other side.
So here's a size where we can resize that one. In the other program, you can actually click and drag it.
Those that cannot focus.
Yep, exactly. So again, you can change the opacity.
Focus right here.
So,
Which one are you doing to make it smaller and bigger?
so here on the right side, there's that E.
Is that always there?
So, well, I had to start the program. So when I went to, when I went down here to the Start menu and Programs and Easy Teach, I turned on the Spotlight program. And when I did that, it brought up these icons here on the side. Okay? And then our options are over here under the Spotlight to change the size of it, or to change the shape of it, or to turn it on and off.
And then down to Spotlight.
What is that pen that's not on the other side?
This one?
No, the other side. It's not showing up. Is that you have the bright link on?
I think that's for the glass mode.
Oh,
So if I now, I'm gonna close this out for a second. And then our other fairly simple program under that is Easy Teach and the glass mode tool. Now, interestingly, that really does the same program. It's almost identical, but it's going to default to our glass mode here. Okay, and what glass mode does, and if you remember, I came to Woodland Hills, right? We had some guy in the fall. I came around to most of the schools and kind of demoed something similar. But really, back when I was in the classroom and before we had this technology, it's like the old overhead. So it's like I'm taking a picture of my computer and now putting an overhead transparency on front of it that I can now draw on. Okay? And
How do you close the little circle thing
The spotlight,
Yeah, the spotlight.
if you see this flashlight right here, you can turn it on and off. Okay. So now we're on the glass mode, and again, it's turning that glass mode on and off is just like putting the transparency down or taking it off. Okay. And here under our pen tools, we have different colors of pens. So our top three, we have green, black, and red are three colors of pens. Or we also have three highlighter options underneath it as well, if you want to come in and highlight part of your screen. And again, just really all you're doing is just putting basically a computer transparency on top of your screen. Okay, and then if you want to totally erase it, you have the garbage can here, and that should get rid of everything that you just did. Okay.
So how did you change the color again? I'm sorry.
So under the pen, you see the pen icon right here?
Yep.
You click on that. You have three solid pens at the top, three highlighting pens at the bottom, or four actually. The blue one's a pen too. So you have four colors, red, green, blue, and black, two highlighters, and then one eraser. So you can, I think that's an eraser. Isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's,
Is that turning it on? Oh, it's turning it on and off is what it's doing.
So where is the eraser?
So for the erasing, you basically clear off the whole screen. You can't erase a thing at a time. You either turn off the whole thing, clear the whole thing, or you can't just erase part of your drawing. Okay. So sorry, this one turns it.
I turn all of it, put the garbage can?
Yeah, you can delete the whole thing. You can't just erase part of it. Okay, so you have no pen or pens. So you clicked on green right here.
Yeah. Click once.
Yep.
Oh, there it is.
And I can say, here's the URL that you copy and paste.
And then we can use our pen to do that to
Yes, if we get it turned on. And so we'll have to show you how to turn that on. But yeah, absolutely, you can use those pens right up at the front and do this.
Okay.
Okay. And then that should have copied it. So turn this off.
The color pencil makes the pens come up.
Does
The
this,
red.
does this work if you have your Elmo on?
So you'll either, right, so you're either on your computer or else you're on your Elmo. Yeah, I think once we get into RMEZ Teach and you see all the capabilities that are there, it'll help you forget about the Elmo. So a little bit more complicated, but a whole lot more fun on what you can use. Okay, so our last icons here, they're on these toolbars, are called screen captures. And you have a couple of options on your screen captures. The one is it'll capture the whole screen. And when I click on it, it just took a picture of that screen. And here it pasted it into Easy Teach, and I'll come back and show you that. But basically, I pasted it right into the program I had open.
Which icon was that?
That was this one that has a square all the way around it.
Square all the way around.
The other one is a window capture, which means it's going to ask me to click and drag to show it which parts I want to capture.
Oh.
Although that's not quite working. Worked a second ago.
Now, would you want to say when you created something that you're going to teach, you want to save it? Is that what you use that for?
Yeah, that could definitely be something. If you annotated on the page and you wanted to save that, then absolutely you could take that picture of it and then save it as a picture file. Now it's not going to save it. Let's say I have this Word document open and I wanted to make a mark on it, and so I come to my pen tool. It's back to the picture capture for some reason. okay, and I circle around this, I'm not doing anything in Word. Okay, I'm drawing on top of Word. Does that make sense? And so if I save this file now, it's not going to save that red on top of it because Word doesn't even know I'm drawing on top of it.
Okay.
What I can do is I can take a picture of that and
Where did you paste it?
You go to file save, go down at the bottom.
And so what it did is it took a picture of it and it copied and pasted it into RM Easy Teach. So now I've got basically a picture file. I've got a clipboard copy of what I had just done.
It comes up automatically in Easy Teach.
Because I had Easy Teach open, yeah. Okay. So why don't we take a minute, kind of keep those tools in the back of your mind. We won't be done with those, so don't think we're moving on. But I'm going to clear off this drawing in front of us, clear this off, and I'm going to come back and just start RM Easy Teach. So RM Easy Teach is, it's kind of, I think the best way I could describe it is PowerPoint on steroids. It's a really enhanced version of Microsoft PowerPoint. So has everybody created a PowerPoint presentation at some point? You're at least kind of familiar with how PowerPoint works? Okay. So I'm going to go to my Start and Programs, same thing, Easy Teach, and now I'm going to go to this Easy Teach Next Generation. Now probably, depends on how far you've got on your install, is anybody getting the registration thing? Go ahead and just close that out, and we'll have to come in and put in the code on that. Is anybody else? Oh, sorry. You can, I told you to hit the wrong button.
Austin's is expired. Is there a place?
Pardon me? Say it again.
I say Austin's is expired. His trial already. Is there a place he can just?
Is he at home or at school?
I think he's at school.
We ask him. If you just click on Continue, it's going to let you go into a 30-day trial mode. But because the software came with our projectors, we have codes that we can get it on your computers.
Do we want to update it?
No, don't click on Update. It's a huge download, and so we're just going to use the old version for right now, and I think we'll try to update everybody over the summer.
Yeah, he's at school.
Okay, so will you tell him to put in a work order with his tech to update that? Okay, so this is RM Easy Teach, and we're basically looking at a nice big white blank page.
We're just opening?
Yep, or I did new.
New?
Yeah, sorry, should have walked you through that. So did everybody get here to this blank page? Okay. So, and really, if you just think about it like I'm really doing a PowerPoint, I think it'll make it a little bit simpler on how easy it is. Is there a question? No? Okay.
I have one.
Yes.
Because I'm curious. Can I bring in a PowerPoint presentation into this and look at it and display it?
No, they're really two totally different file formats, and I don't think there's any way. I don't think PowerPoint saves in the kind of file format you would need to bring it into this. Now, if it's a pretty simple PowerPoint, you could save it all as pictures. There's kind of an easy way to do that, and then you could bring these pictures in, so you're not losing any of that stuff. But I don't know if that helps or not, because at that point you really can't edit your pictures. So, but you can do a lot of copying and pasting. It would go pretty quickly, I think. Okay. So the first thing I'm going, yes.
My screen doesn't look like it.
What does yours look like?
Those little E's on the side, I don't have those E's.
I don't either.
Oh, that you might have just exited out of the program. This is that program we had before. So if you just click the X, that's going to exit our glass mode.
Oh, okay.
So we're okay. This is, yeah, so those are those two things that kind of float on top of what we're doing.
Do
Okay?
we need that?
No, you can exit out. We don't need that. We're going to leave that aside for a few minutes. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is our launch button down here. So this E is our Easy Teach menu. Okay? And so just like opening a file menu, we have New. You have Open. If you've already saved an Easy Teach file, you can save as. You can insert, which would be inserting pages from another EasyTeach file. You can print it. Under view modes, we have the glass mode and the spotlight mode like we just saw. That's the exact same thing we just went through. We're in edit mode right now. There's a storyboard mode, and I don't know if anybody's ever played with that in PowerPoint. But basically, if we have multiple slides, it'll show you all of your slides here. So I can click down here and add a page, and now I've got 2 slides in my EasyTeach program. 3 slides, 4 slides, or I can delete those out. Okay, that's the storyboard view. Okay.
Where did you go to get to the storyboard view?
So under the EasyTeach menu and view modes, we have the storyboard. Okay. In the storyboard view, it was under, there's just a plus sign right down here to add it or to delete them. Okay.
Okay, how do we get something in those pages?
We'll get there, so give me just a sec. Okay. So under our view modes, we have the storyboard, full screen. This side panel gives you that same view of all of your slides here on the left, and you can just also use this side button here to put those in. For those of you that are watching this at home, you can follow along for now, and you can download a trial version of RM EasyTeach, or if you will email Cliff, I'm going to let Cliff handle this one for me. His email, you know what? I'll have him send his email in the chat message. You can send him an email, and we'll burn some copies of the trial version that you can install at home. That'll get you through the class too. So, so you can follow along with what we're doing. And then there's a curtain reveal, and this one isn't going to make a lot of sense for us right now. But once you've created things, you'll see how this could be a fun thing to do with your classes up on front of the screens, where you can show or hide part of the screen. Okay.
What did you click for that?
That one is our curtain reveal.
Okay, I don't have the thing on the left. How are you pulling that up?
So this is down here under the the EasyTeach menu button down here.
How do you get out of the story?
Okay, so if you're in storyboard, if you click on your screen on one of those buttons, then it should take you back to this regular view. Okay. And then the grid will just put up a grid. It might be useful as you're lining things up, or I mean, if as you're doing math activities or graphing or those kinds of things, this should show right up on your whiteboard just like it is here for us. So, okay, so those are different view modes, and again, just know that they're there. We'll come back and we'll show some functionality.
Curtain reveal.
So just come back to your EasyTeach menu and go to View Modes and then uncheck it.
Oh,
okay. Okay. And so we'll under My EasyTeach, if you want to click on that for a second, there are some options that you have here. So again, keep in mind that what we're doing is really creating like a PowerPoint. Okay. And so just like you can add a background into a PowerPoint, you could add in a background image for this particular file that you're working in, and that would show up on all of them. So let's say I wanted to do something with a map. I could save a map to my computer and then put that in as the background image here. And I don't think I have any here. I'll just grab a sample one quick, and I'll click OK, and now that's going to show up. And even as I add new slides, that's always going to be on the background of all my slides. Okay, so kind of keep that in mind. If you do it here under your settings, it's going to apply to every slide. If you only want it to be on a certain slide, then there's a better way to do that. So that's again under My EasyTeach, and if I don't want it, then I can just click on Clear, and OK, and it's going to take it off there. Okay, so it's just some general settings here. You can choose background images. You can change the color if you wanted to use a different color. Okay, and some are definitely more easy on the eyes than others. Okay, and you can also notice that there's some tabs down here as far as your page properties, your document settings. You can change default fonts, where your toolbars are, going at the bottom or the top, where it saves the file. Okay, lots of options that way. Okay, so those are basically all of your general settings for it. Okay, and we'll play with those a little bit. Okay. Okay. So the next thing is, how do you put something into this where it's a PowerPoint? So that'll take us to our next options. So down here on this bottom, we have some tools. We have drawing tools. We have text tools. We have some special effects, some widgets. The widgets are a lot of fun, but we'll have to save those for another night. But you can get in and play with this on your own computers as you want to. Multimedia, and then scrapbooks. And kind of, like I said, we'll take that over the next few weeks, and you can see how each one of those works. But let's just start with our drawing tools. So as we click on that, we'll see some things that are similar to things we just saw. We have pen tools, and now you have a range of pens. Okay, and so you can come and grab a pen, and you can freehand draw on the screen. Okay.
It's like signing your name on those little electric pads at the or something. You can't even read it.
Yeah, but again, once you get the pens turned on and you're actually using a pen, it's a little easier than using your mouse.
Okay.
So mouse, we're getting into, you can see how it works, but really those pens in your classroom will work just like a mouse will. And then notice here you've got some options. You can change the thickness of your lines. Okay, and over here, a little bit away from where we are, but there's also some, you can change the color of those, and you can change the fill on them as well. Okay, so I'm going to, I'm just going to do it, Control Z to undo it, just to demonstrate some other ones. I'm going to go with red. Just for Jared's sake, we'll do blue orange.
Okay, how do you erase what you've done?
I just did a Control Z to do an undo. There's some other ways we can do that. That was the simplest.
Okay.
And I'm not sure that's not filling.
So what do you like, Jared?
Where's the state?
Unvoiced state, excuse me. What fun thing is he doing?
I was just doing a freehand. I wonder if I have to, that's because I'm doing a line, I think. Here I've got some shapes, and so I can do a shape tool, and that's where I'll get the colors with it. And so, there we go. There's the orange and blue for Jared. Okay. So you have this button here will do predefined shapes. And again, you can change the fill of them here, the color of them here, or the width of your lines here.
How do you make it stick?
How do you make it stick?
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, just a click and a drag, and it should.
Wow, there's so much.
Okay. There is a lot. There's tons to play with here. And then I'm going to do a few.
And where did you fill it?
The fill button is right over here on the right, that bottom right corner. Okay. And
Can you take those off one at a time?
if you do an undo, you can take them off one at a time.
And where's an undo?
Control Z, or down here, you have this undo button right here as well, and a redo button.
I missed how you're saving that part over to that thing, your PowerPoint.
How I was saving it?
Well, yeah, how did you save, because then you could make up the whole lesson, the PowerPoint you could make like.
Right.
So how did you get that part over there to the PowerPoint? The first box there.
This one?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so really what I've done is I've just drawn it in there, and so now if I were to come to my Easy Teach menu and save it, then it's saving this whole file. Is that what you're asking?
No, how did you get the heart in the little box in your PowerPoint?
Up here?
Uh-huh.
This here, notice it's 1, it's just a picture of this slide here.
Right.
So if I come to 2,
Okay, I don't have the boxes on
the side, okay. So this, you see this little double click?
Uh-huh.
That'll show you your side view on it.
Not if you didn't choose it before. You go into your
Oh,
view
so do you have to go to view modes? Okay, so if you go to down here onto your Easy Teach menu and view modes, and then turn on side panel,
Okay.
and then those side arrows will work for you. Okay, so lots of different shapes here you can choose from. Looks like there's 15 different shapes you can choose from. You can do some call outs. Okay, and then this one's kind of a cool one. The button next to it, and especially as you get students up at the board and actually drawing on the board, there's a shape recognition tool. And so with this one, you can come up and approximate a square, and it'll turn it into a square or a triangle or a circle. So kind of a fun one for kids to play with. So that's just a shape recognition tool. So you draw a freehand shape, and it will turn it into a geometric shape.
Okay, I lost all my things on. I've got the pink A and the blue star, but everything's gone right here. See what I'm talking about? It's all gone. Oh, there it is. So you click on this. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, and then we have, again, this is all under our drawing pens. There's the eraser here as well, and so you can click on the eraser right next.
This one, sorry.
Yep, this one right here. And I'm not sure why that's not
Yeah,
working.
mine's not erasing.
I wonder if that can only erase pens.
Yeah. No, this is the-
Yeah, that only erases pens. So, so you're going to have a couple of things. You're going to have the freehand drawing with the pens, but for these things that are actually objects, then you can use, right down here you can see that there's a select tool, it's just an arrow. So you can use that and click on those, and now you've selected an object, and you can either hit delete if you want to delete it, or I can undo that delete. And notice I've got some buttons here on the side that I can use to manipulate that. So I can resize it. And this one at the top I can use to rotate it. Okay, or I can use this arrow to go and change the properties of it.
What arrow?
This arrow right here. So did you see how I selected it?
You go down to that arrow at the
Yeah,
bottom.
this arrow at the bottom, and then I can come up and I can select on an object. And that again gives me these handles around the side of it. The four corners are to resize. The one at the top is to rotate. And then you have the arrow button here to change properties. and including up to the line width you can change. You can also, notice you have this large group of items down here where you can lock it, and if you lock it, there's lots of different options. You can just lock it completely so you can't do anything with it. You can't move it, you can't delete it, it just leaves it right there on the page. Might be handy again if you have kids up that are working on this on the board. You could do it so it only allows horizontal movement, but you can't move it vertically. Or opposite, you can have it just do vertical alignment. But not side to side. Okay, and I can unlock it. And notice there's even a clone option as well, so I can lock it and clone it. And let's try that again. And there's a clone of it. Okay, and that's probably a pretty good introduction for tonight. So next week we'll get into adding some text into it as well. But that's really a pretty good way to start and play with RM Easy Teach. Again, you have the different view modes, and then we have just been working in the pen mode tonight. So when you click on the pen mode, again, it brings up an option here for different colors of pens, including highlighters. So the first one are pens. The second one over here that has the letter next to it are highlighters, so you can come in and highlight over the top of things. Then you have an eraser to erase what you might have just done. And then we have the option, the fill tool option. And I wonder on the fill tool, let's try a blank rectangle here for a second. Do a star. I think on the fill tool, if I remember right, if I change my color here, let's change it to pink, and I can come in and fill inside of those shapes. Okay?
No, you just clicked on the fill tool?
Yep, that's the fill tool. And then I pick my color over here that I wanted to fill it with. Let's pick a different color now. And then just came in and I could fill inside of the shapes that I'd already created. Okay? So, anybody K1 age of teachers? Anybody kindergarten or first grade? No? Okay. I was just thinking in terms of, kindergartners, even my preschool students, it'd be fun to go up and say, color the square. And so you turn on the fill and everything, and they can just go up and tap on the square, and it would fill it in with that particular color. So, some different tools you can have there. And then the next one over again was our shape recognition, where students could come up and they could draw an approximation of a shape, and it will, if it's close anyway, it will recognize it. Apparently it doesn't like hexagons. I'll stick with triangles. Oh, let me do my triangle. It's terrible. There we go. Okay. And then predefined shapes that are just click and drag options. And again, if you don't like the colors, then you can use your select tool here, click on it, use your arrow, and you can change those colors. Okay? Or you can come back and grab your fill tool like we did, pick a different color to fill it with, and just drop it inside of it. Okay? And then our last one that we haven't seen much are just different line types that you can draw as well. So they have a regular line, arrows, some dashed lines in there, some dashed arrows, and so you can mess around and see how those work as well. And you should also be able to select those, and just like we did on the other ones, you can stretch them, rotate them, or change their properties. Sure, you have right down in the bottom middle, there is a select tool. So you click on that, see an arrow, and again you have the four corners to resize or to change the ratio on them, and then you have the one at the middle that's a rotate option.
So the pink A and blue star, now what are those doing here?
The pink, oh, down here, that'll be what we start with next week. So that's, nope, you're great. So that's our text, and we'll spend quite a bit of time on text and then special effects. And I think when you see those, you'll see where this really gets to be a pretty fun program. There's a lot of options. So, okay, so we'll wrap up there for tonight. Again, next week, we'll start class over in the boardroom just to talk about how to turn on the projector, how to turn the pens onto the projector, and how to calibrate the projector. So it'll be about 30 minutes there, and then we'll come on over to the tech center so you can get hands-on in front of the computers with the rest of the program. So from those of you online, any questions or comments for tonight? Okay. Yes.
How do you erase other than using the little eraser, which won't work?
Okay, so
Except on the pen?
to erase objects, if you go to the select option and you click on an object, you can either hit the delete key on your keyboard or there's a garbage can here, and you can select them and delete them that way.
Okay, wait a minute. My garbage can isn't lit up.
So you'll want to select something first. So use your select button and click on it.
The CTRLC does it too.
And you can hit the garbage can. And I wonder, and here's a real shortcut. If you want to clear everything, okay, let me slow up. So what, are you following me so far? Not yet.
No, it's,
So you have,
yeah.
it's, okay, so it's this arrow right here,
Oh, that one.
that select tool.
And then click on that.
And then you can hit delete. And then if you want to clear everything, and this is a good shortcut key in Windows, Control A will select everything. That stands for all. So Control A is select everything on the page, and then you can hit delete. Almost everything. I missed one thing somehow.
Okay. The Control Z just undoes the last thing that you did.
Oh, it's
Control
locked.
A,
Mm.
the entire page.
It selects everything. Yep. And now notice I left a triangle here. It's because I have it locked, and so I need to click on that button and unlock it. It says it's unlocked. Oh, that one's unlocked. It's this one that's locked. It says that one's unlocked in right there. Keep on cloning it. Okay. Now this one, notice there's, oh, it picked that up, but I can delete that too. Okay. So if you want to save it, again, you can come to your Easy Teach menu and save as, and put that into your documents, and it'll be there for you. Okay. Any other questions for tonight? Are you okay registering them?
I
You think?
registered while we were talking.
Excellent. Okay. Everybody else got registered for the class that needs to? Anybody online that needs to still register for the class or that needs help with that? Okay. Well, appreciate everybody coming tonight, and we'll see you in the boardroom next Wednesday.
You said